It's that awkward time between Christmas and New Year, isn't it?
Or is it New Year's Day, in fact?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that awkward time when you just don't know what day it is.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson, Richard James and Chris Dale.
Thank goodness that awkward time between Christmas and New Year is over.
Yes.
It's a new year.
Farewell in between us.
Yes.
Welcome
2024.
to 2024.
Mus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy 2024. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year is what we mean. That's what we're trying to say.
Did you bring any party poppers? No? Okay, well, that went well.
No, I didn't. No.
You just have to imagine that we had party poppers and streamers. And
Yes. And we all hope you had a wonderful Christmas, of course. We all wish you a very happy New Year. Let's hope many wonderful things happen in 2024.
Many.
Yeah. At least one a week. I'm expecting one
wonderful thing a week.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
This is, of course, the Gerry Anderson podcast. Nothing has changed yet, but we have been talking about a few little changes to the old format, haven't
Have we?
Don't you remember?
Not really.
My idea with the telephone and things like that.
Superimpersonation.
And even switching up FAB Facts a bit to make it a bit more hyper-powered.
What, all the reverso thing
right.
for the whole podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
All that is yet to come.
Expect
Or may not happen at all.
Expect something or nothing in 2024. That's all we can offer.
But in brief, Gerry Anderson podcast, Richard James,
Jamie Anderson,
Randomiser,
Chris
Chris
Dale. Hi, Chris.
Hi, guys.
News. No.
No news.
Voice of the Podsterons.
Yeah.
FAB Facts.
Yeah.
But first part of our interview with the wonderful Prentis Hancock.
Yes.
What a way to start the new year.
Well, yeah, what a great way to ring in 2024 than going back to 1975 to celebrate 1999.
Absolutely right. Exactly. Yes,
Good.
I'm so looking forward to talking to Prentis Hancock, not just about Space 1999, but also, of course, The Protectors, another Anderson production he was in.
And Doctor Who.
And Doctor Who, and The Saint, and The Bill. Got some clips of his very early work from 1971, Last of the Mohicans,
Cool.
Colditz, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, all that coming up.
Is that everything?
I think so.
Good.
What more do you want?
Well, to speed into a brand new 2024 edition of Fab Facts.
Fell into that one, didn't I?
Yay.
Now, time for this week's Fab Facts.
Fab Facts.
Yes.
Same old Fab Facts.
Yeah, for now.
Book of Fab Facts.
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, but you wait.
I flick, no.
Oh,
Same.
for now, same.
Okay. I flick, you shout Fab. Stop flicking, read words, done. Happy?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on then.
It's a bit early in the year for anything more exciting. Here we go.
Fab!
Whoa. I'm just going to skip over those couple of pages there. Well, we've done that one before, you see, I saw.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah, this is a different
What are the
one
chances?
now. Well, it's getting increasingly likely that we're going to see the same old Fab Facts again. A bit like sometimes we get the same old emails out. I don't know how that happens. Anyway, Pod 290's Fab Fact goes as follows. Richard?
Yes?
We've covered several times previously the fact that certain members of the Space 1999 cast were not invited back for the show's second season.
I mean...
Namely, and awkwardly, Barry Morse, Clifton Jones, Suzanne Roquette, and Prentis Hancock.
Yeah, all right.
We've also spoken to Anton Phillips in this very room, at this very table.
Yeah, sat in that very chair.
Yeah, about why he only appeared in a couple of episodes of Year 2 before also disappearing from the show.
Yep.
Namely, that he wasn't under contract for Year 2, as he had been for Year 1, and so decided not to stick around when it became obvious that his role in the show had been drastically reduced. Fair enough.
Yeah.
However, there's one member of the original Space 1999 cast who, similar to Anton, also returned for the second season, then left, but then returned again, and then left again.
What?
Yes. That, of course, was the much-loved and much-missed Xenia Merton. Much like Anton, Xenia's reason for leaving the show was the fact that so much had changed between seasons, and that her character Sandra's role in the new series was much reduced. And again, that she wasn't under contract now, so there really wasn't anything keeping her tied to the show anymore.
Yeah.
So, similar to how Anton Phillips had left after 2 episodes of the second season, Xenia left after 3, and Sandra was effectively replaced by Yasuko Nagazumi as Yasuko.
Okay.
And that might have been the end of Xenia's involvement with the show had Martin Landau and Barbara Bain not decided to go on holiday to the south of France at the end of July 1976, when the episode The Beta Cloud was due to be filmed. In fact, Xenia's return to the series came at the request of Barbara Bain herself. As the episode in question Just got to turn the page.
Oh, okay.
It's
Cool.
very crucial.
Tenterhooks.
The episode in question saw Commander Koenig and Dr. Russell among the many Alphans incapacitated by a mysterious space cloud, and Moonbase Alpha being defended by only Tony Vedeschi, Bill Fraser, and Maya, the 3 new regular characters of Year 2. In other words, Barbara was concerned that with Koenig and Russell ill in bed for most of the story, and all of the action given to the 3 new characters, there would be no familiar faces from the first season in the episode at all.
I see.
So, Xenia agreed to come back to shoot the Beta Cloud, and must have had a better experience this time.
You say better experience this time?
Because, yeah.
I suspect.
Probably.
Hello. How badly do you want me back?
A better financial experience, maybe? So she stuck around for 7 more episodes. So why did she leave the series again when she seemed to have a bit more to do in those 8 episodes compared to the first 3? Well, this time, it wasn't down to dissatisfaction with the series or her role, but rather that she'd had an offer to star in the 1977 film Cosmetic Revolutionen.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
I know
it?
Well, is it German?
Looks it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Does it start with a K?
She starred in a 1977 film.
Yeah.
And as you can probably tell by how I've absolutely failed in that pronunciation, it wasn't a British film. It wasn't German either. It was Norwegian.
Norwegian film.
Yes, gosh.
Well,
I'm so
well.
glad to have had to say that word
Yes.
badly. The Norwegian filming dates clashed with the filming of the final 4 episodes of Space 1999, but Xenia was very keen to do those episodes, particularly since 2 of them saw Sandra visiting alien planets, something that we never saw her do in the second season.
Nice.
She also didn't want to give the impression that she wasn't interested in the series anymore, just in case it went to a 3rd season.
Well, quite.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she didn't want to turn down a lead role in a film either, even if it was unpronounceable.
Yes.
Decisions.
That's right.
Ultimately, however, the choice to take the film over the final 4 episodes of the show became much easier after Tony Anholt, who often gave Xenia lifts to and from the studio and therefore was probably something of a sounding board for her during this time, let her in on a secret that Dad had recently shared with him about the future of the series, saying, "Honey, your timing's perfect because there's no season 3." That's Tony saying that to Xenia, not Dad saying it to Tony, because that would be weird.
Yes.
So Xenia was free to do the film, safe in the knowledge that her Space 1999 job was basically over either way. And her role in those final 4 episodes was filled by Yasuko Nagazumi and then by newcomer Ali Parsons. But of course, as things turned out, 23 years later, Xenia did get one last chance to play Sandra when she starred in what many consider the final episode of Space 1999 continuity, the 1999 fan film Message from Moonbase Alpha.
Yeah,
so she
lovely
did
thing.
come back.
That's true.
She had the final word, in fact.
That's true. That's such a long fab. Can I ask, is it still 2024?
No, welcome to 2025.
Oh, but that was lovely. Yes, I didn't know that. Yes, she'd gone away and come back and then gone away again.
And then come back and gone away and come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Oh,
amazing,
very
isn't it?
nice. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Talking to Anton when he was here, and he was saying that, how basically he came back for a couple of episodes and hadn't signed the contract, so had decided, well, maybe it's not for me.
I'm done.
I don't know if you'd do that today.
No.
I don't know if you would
wouldn't
do
dare.
that today because work is so scarce.
Yeah.
I do get the feeling it was a little bit easier as an actor in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, do you think so?
I do, yeah, I get that
Okay.
feeling. So I wonder if today you'd pass up the opportunity to play even a diminished role in the second series of particularly as there's so many kind of add-ons today. You've got your conventions, and your signings. It's a much more lucrative business to be a part of if you get into a regular series.
Yeah, but more people trying it and
Yeah, that's right.
often less money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, interesting.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
What a long one.
It was a long
But,
one, yes, but worth the wait, I think.
Yes. And of course, Xenia, who very kindly spoke at Dad's wake.
Ah.
Even though she really didn't want to. She hated doing kind of public speaking stuff.
Yeah.
But she said some nice words and introduced a little funny video there to try and sort of lighten the mood.
Nice.
So, yes, what a lovely lady she was.
Yeah, that's great. Nice. Well, I enjoyed that one. What a good start to the new year, I'd
Just
say.
a bit
for
of a
Fab
long
Facts.
one. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, well, start as we mean to go on.
Yeah, quite,
That
yes.
one, I guess, brings us to a very long but quite interesting Xenia Facts.
Oh, yeah, it took me by surprise, even though we do it every week.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, could it be something along the lines of, coming and then going and then coming back and then going and then coming back and then going and then coming back? Fab Facts. But,
Xenia Facts, just easy.
yeah, now, talking of coming and going, would you like to hear the comings and goings of our wonderful Podsterons?
Do I have a choice?
Well, I mean, it would involve opening the door to let in a bit of a draft.
Okay.
This is the voice Voice of the Podsterons.
Yes, it's the Voice of the Podsterons, because they keep emailing us, even over Christmas.
They won't blooming stop.
They had nothing better to do. They could have been eating their mince pies and supping their port.
But instead, they watched us on YouTube.
They did.
Listened to us on their podcast
They
apps.
did.
And emailed us via their email
Exactly.
apps. Good.
Like Edward Turner, who says, well, he ends his email by saying bye for now.
Great.
He starts it
great.
by saying, hello, Jamie and or Richard.
Anne's fine.
Yeah. I thought it would be a good idea to get in contact and share something which recently caught my attention and left me a little surprised.
Oh. Was that our Christmas episode?
In the latest, at the time of writing this, Doctor Who episode, which just so happens to be one of the 60th anniversary specials entitled Wild Blue Yonder, there's a moment where the Doctor, as played by David Tennant, and Donna, as played by Catherine Tate, get into a sort of space hovercar, and the Doctor says the words, "Your car, milady," and Donna responds, "Thank you, Parker." This is very clearly a reference to Thunderbirds and the infamous Lady Penelope and her perhaps even more famous butler, Parker. I was wondering, first of all, if you were aware of this, or even if you watched the episode, if you were like me surprised, and second, what your thoughts on the nod towards Gerry Anderson were. Thank you for hopefully reading this short message. I hope you possibly found it informative. Bye for now. You see, I said he ended it that way, and that's
did.
Edward Turner.
Thanks, Edward Turner. I was aware of it.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yes.
And I dropped Russell a message.
You did?
And said thank you. And he came back and said, I thought you'd like that.
Yes.
Little winky kissy face.
Ah, did you send him a link to my Spotlight profile on my CV? And...
I'm going to do that later.
Great, excellent. Because obviously I'd like a part.
Another time.
Yeah, okay.
But,
Brilliant, thanks for that.
yeah, no, I mean, Russell.
Let me know when you sent it.
Yeah, all right. It's not all about you. Russell's a bit of a UFO fan, actually. I think more than Thunderbirds.
Right.
But what a lovely thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great,
it's nice
isn't it?
to have Anderson-y stuff.
Not the first time it's happened, of course.
No, but
in and
that
around
was,
the world.
it was a very specific,
Too right.
very clear one.
Too right.
So, yeah.
So that means in universe that the Doctor watches Thunderbirds.
Yes, or has watched it.
Sure. Well, yeah, sure.
Or,
Or
it's
will
just,
watch
just
it.
aware. Oh yes, or will watch
Timey-wimey.
it. Wibbly wobbly. Okay, Mark Moss.
Oh yeah.
He emailed last week or the week before, but he's
That's
emailed
right, he did.
again. But
This is a
it's
different
definitely
email.
a different email.
Definitely
I can see
is.
that. Mark says, over the years, I've been able to acquire a range of Gerry Anderson diecast models that look great, but are in desperate need of accompanying scenery.
Oh,
That's fair. Are there plans to develop things such as dioramas?
Dioramas,
For said
yeah.
models. I would have a go at making a diorama or two myself, but I know from experience that my wife will, understandably, have one or two choice words to say when she sees the mess I was making in the garage during the process.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Most of the models I have are the Product Enterprise and 1612 12-inch Eagles, all of which look out of place and context without a bit of scenery. I'm not trying to make a diorama out of a crisis,
Oh,
but help.
that is good.
But help
Has he been
almost.
speaking to Terry Adlam?
Yeah, clearly. But help almost of the international rescue kind is sorely needed. Keep up the great work. Kind regards from Mark. Mark,
Nice idea.
We are actually having a conversation with a company that does dioramas right now
Are you?
about doing scale dioramas for some of our collectibles. So, yes,
Good idea.
it could
I
be
like it.
quite timely.
I like it. Hannah says, hello, Jamie, Richard, and Chris. I finally finished watching all the episodes of Fireball XL5 from my Blu-ray box set from Network Distributing. It's the first time I've got to see the entire series, and I can say that I enjoyed it very much.
Good.
Had a lot of fun with Steve Zodiac and the crew of XL5 in every episode, and there were some very funny moments with Commander Zero and Lieutenant 90. I also love the stunning design of Fireball and the epic and catchy music, and not forgetting the theme song from the end credits. This might sound a bit weird, but I felt as if I wanted to spend time with the characters on their adventures. Not weird at all, that's the point, isn't it, of good TV?
Completely.
As I found them so fun and entertaining. I liked seeing how things were progressing throughout the series and what would be transferred and improved for the shows that came after it. The production team was starting to push the special effects further. Space City Special felt like a great way to end the series, even though there was one episode left afterwards, with all the characters coming together with enough time to have a save-the-day moment. I had a great time watching the series, felt a little emotional when it came to the final episode, but I can always put the disc back on and watch it again.
And again and again.
Absolutely. I definitely like Fireball XL5 now. Yours truly, Hannah.
Oh, great, Hannah.
Yeah.
Amazing. You know, new converts
Yes.
every single day.
Yes, watching stuff from decades ago.
Many.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? And still finding something there of value.
Yeah. Before we know it, it'll be Fireball's 70th anniversary or something, won't it? I mean, not for a little while yet,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
Amazing. Thanks, Hannah. Caleb's been emailing again.
Oh, hello, Caleb. Yes.
G'day, podhosterons.
G'day.
Very good. Listen to your accenting. I've been
No, well, that's what I do, Jamie. Why are you constantly surprised?
Father Christmas last week.
Yes.
Australian this week. What next week?
It's literally what I do.
I can't wait to hear the next one. Anyway, Caleb says, a while ago I sent in an email talking about the Thunderbirds reference in Wallace and Gromit.
Right.
And as an Australian, as Richard has illustrated,
Yes.
I made a severe lapse in judgment and forgot that Aardman is a British company, so of course it was an obvious reference to another extremely popular British TV show.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thunderbirds is still well loved over here, but maybe not as well known as it is in Europe.
Okay.
Caleb. Don't worry, Caleb.
No.
Because, there'll be plenty of Australian listeners listening going, oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Didn't know that. And elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can always tell us stuff, but we may go, yeah, we knew that already.
Yeah, we knew that.
Because we're like that.
Yeah, we're a
bit snippy.
Know-it-alls, yeah. Stuart Lomas from Manchester says, greetings, chaps. As someone who watched most Anderson shows from when they were broadcast, born in 1960, was Stuart, I've always loved a section of the opening of Supercar, and I'm partly hoping you won't be able to answer this question, as I would love to stump Jamie.
That's a bit rude.
So here we go. In the Supercar opening, it shows said vehicle diving at full chat with the sound of a screaming jet engine. Do you know the aircraft that was recorded to get this sound effect? Anyway, I hope you had a great Christmas. Regards, Stuart Lomas from Manchester.
Cheers, Stuart.
So-
No, I don't know that.
No, you don't. I think I know someone who might know it.
Really?
Gary Hodgkinson.
Oh,
He knows all that sort of stuff.
all right.
He's into jets and planes and that. So, Gary, over to you. Supercar. Where did we...
Hurricane,
where did they get
maybe?
them?
I don't know.
Hurricane? You're just pulling words out there. Vulcan. Vulcan bomber.
It could be.
Concorde.
Be great if it's one of them.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's all for now, but we have a bulging bag every week, and that's the way we like it. So plenty more emails to read out next time, as long as you keep sending them in at podcast@gerryanderson.com. It's that easy.
Please do.
Yeah, please do.
We really like it.
Yeah, we do. Now, I think it's time that we had our very special guest to start our wonderful new year.
It's great.
From Space 1999, from The Protectors, and so much more. Well, I'll let the introduction tell you who's coming up. There are very few people who could be called a bona fide TV legend, but this week's guest fills the brief admirably. He'll be known to Gerry Anderson fans as Paul Morrow from Space 1999 and for his appearance in The Protectors, but he boasts a host of classic film and TV credits from The Saint to Doctor Who and many more besides. It's Prentis Hancock!
Hi.
Welcome, Prentis.
Welcome.
It's a joy to have you in our podcast studio. I mean, looking around me now on the table in front of us, we have various bits of Space 1999
Yes.
memorabilia that you'll recognise.
There's the eagle.
The eagle?
They always looked as if they couldn't fly.
They're not the
They
most...
seem to fly like dreams.
Yeah, absolutely right, yes. Did you ever get behind the wheel of one of these in
Oh,
the
yes,
series?
yes. You have to sit down flat on the floor to handle one of those.
Right.
You know.
Not the most comfortable position, I
No,
would have
it's a
thought.
very odd position.
Yeah. Now, Prentis, over the next couple of interviews, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking to you about your illustrious career, focusing, well, to some degree, of course, with your Gerry Anderson credits, because that's why we're here, but also 68 credits on IMDb. Your first being in 1969. So we're talking a career of well over 50 years. So you may remember that over the last few weeks we've been talking to each other online about your various Anderson experiences. And I asked you for your first Anderson memory. So, with your permission, I'd like to have a look at it now. Ready?
Right.
Here we go. Very fetching.
Yes. I hardly look a day older.
No, you haven't changed a bit from a distance.
That costume's quite interesting.
Ah, right. Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment.
He says he will kill. What? Hello. Who is this? My identity doesn't matter. What is important is that you understand the situation. We are armed and have explosives. Do not attempt to send up the other cable car, or people will be hurt. We mean what we say.
Wow. What a cliffhanger. A little montage there of Prentis Hancock up to no good
Yes.
from the Protectors. Wham was the episode. Two-part story, I think.
Two-part, yes. If you try and tell a story in 21 minutes, I think that was the time they had in America.
Yeah.
By the time you've had your sponsor's message and your,
Right, I see.
banner, you've reduced the time to this. Well,
Yeah.
there were three sort of parts to this story. You could get about 1.5 of them
Yeah.
over, but
Yeah.
you'd never get all three. So
I see.
they decided to do it as 2 episodes.
Right.
So I was back to the studio and to do some stuff
I see.
on a green screen,
Oh, really? And where was the studio? Where was it?
It
Pinewood
was
or
Elstree. That one, I
Elstree.
think.
I see. And you were talking about the costume that we saw you
Yeah,
putting on there.
well, I went out with the head of costumes to buy that, to organise that one day.
Oh,
And
yeah.
in the middle of the morning, he suddenly said, well, now I've got to go now.
Oh.
And catch a plane to Austria or somewhere. And he said, will you finish off for me?
Right. Okay, I see.
So I had wads of money and I sort of spent it gaily.
And did you get to keep any of it?
I can't remember. No, I don't think I did, actually, because the costumes were all in Austria.
I see.
Well, we came back. Well,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
didn't.
And do you remember much of the location filming and
Oh, yeah.
what that was like?
That was wonderful.
Bit of a treat?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. How long were you out there for? Do you remember?
A week,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
In a lovely hotel, and I was driving. I had to drive in everything I did. And one day I got there and I said, can I have a practice with the car? And they said, there's a car, off you go.
Right.
And I drove out and I suddenly realised I'd driven off the country roads and I was on the main road.
Ah.
I had no idea where I was.
It was before the days of sat-nav in every car, of course.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I mean, and I was very worried.
Yes, yes. Absolutely, yeah.
Somehow I got back. I don't know how exactly, but I did.
And what of your co-stars? What do you remember of
Jill
the scenes you had?
Townsend,
Mm-hmm.
yes. She was a co-star. I mean,
Yeah.
and I can't remember any more. There were no other sort of major stars that
Was it-
I met.
Yeah,
at
sure.
filming.
But did it feel like a happy ship? Do you remember? Did you have a good
Yeah,
fun
yes,
time? Yeah. Nice.
I always join happy ships.
Yes.
All this rubbish about people hating each other, I find rather boring. And,
Well, perhaps you're the commandant. Perhaps you make the happy ship,
well,
Prentice.
I tried to.
So now I'm guessing that you were aware of Gerry Anderson's work before you,
Yeah.
you worked on the Protectors. But I'm also guessing that you were sort of slightly too old for the advent of the early puppet shows in the 60s.
Maybe.
And so on.
In the 60s, from leaving school, where I didn't do anything, I was always busy.
Right.
Because I trained as an architect to start with.
Oh, really?
So I was apprenticed as an architect to a firm with a Greenock office from
Yeah.
a Glasgow firm.
Yeah.
And I did 3 nights and a day at the Glasgow School of Art.
Uh-huh.
And the amount of work we had to do, homework, was incredible.
Really?
Also, I was in an amateur company with Bill Bryden,
Aha.
a drama workshop.
Right.
So there was all day Sunday was taken up with that.
Right.
And so I really had no time to myself.
Yeah.
Work.
And so
Then I went to drama school after. That's
Right.
another story.
Sure, which we'll come to.
3 years.
But then did you see your future in architecture then? Was that
Oh,
the
then,
original?
yes.
And was that because of family connections or just something that tickled your fancy?
I'd done nothing about that. I got my hires. I got enough of those.
Yeah.
And then I got that was enough to get me out of school to the end of the 5th year.
Yeah.
And I signed up with somebody, International Joy,
Right.
to become a cost and works accountant.
Okay.
After a week of that, I resigned.
Okay.
My boss had a heart attack and died.
Right.
So I can't stand this any longer.
I see.
So I had no idea what I wanted to do. And somebody said there's look in the paper, there's looking for architects. So
Oh, right.
went to see a local guy, and he said, yeah, start here.
So the journey from architecture to acting is an odd course change, isn't it?
I was acting all the time in productions.
So the amateur group you mentioned.
Yeah.
Doing what sort of roles? Do you remember in what sort of plays?
Well, comedy.
Uh-huh.
The Rose Affair was a television play,
Uh-huh.
which is published, actually,
Yeah.
as an anatomy of a TV play.
Uh-huh.
And I came across a copy of the book I had in 1963 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And it's signed by all members of Drama Workshop.
Ah.
Now, the trouble is, I was supposed to get to deliver it to our opposite number in the Shetland Islands.
Right.
No, in the Orkney
Okay.
Islands.
Right.
And I'd forgotten. And this book, how it stayed with me for the next 60 years,
Extraordinary.
with my books, I don't know.
You-
Because I threw away, no, I gave away 50 cases of books when I moved 2 years ago.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
including 7 or 8 to my drama school.
Right.
And
Wow. Amazing. So are you a bit of a collector, Prentis, do you, from your
well,
career?
books, yes.
Oh, really?
I was. Still am. I mean, I love books.
Yeah.
Just as
Uh,
the feel of them.
yes. Yes,
And
absolutely.
they're there.
So, yeah, again, going back to your amateur drama days, then was there a moment or where you thought that you might... What was the tipping point where you thought you might pursue
Do
it
you know
professionally?
it came from my tutor at art school?
Oh, yeah.
He said, you know, you have to decide. Have you got an outside interest?
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, yeah, I'm amateur acting. He said, well, you have to decide whether you're going to be an architect or Albert Finney.
Right. And you thought, well, I'll be Albert Finney, please.
Yeah, but not quite that quickly. I thought about it, and sure enough, I decided I would try and get into drama school.
And where did you eventually
Rose
go?
Bruford's.
I see. So that involved a big move across almost the entire country as a
Well,
young
I
man?
nearly lost my job at the office because I decided to take a day off to do the audition,
Yeah, I see.
which was an all-day one.
Yes.
And for some reason, they suddenly decided they needed me in the office, so they phoned home, where is he?
Right. Whoops.
So I had to admit where I was. And, but that was okay. He was very nice, my boss at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. So 3 years at drama school followed.
Yeah.
What did you get out of that? For anyone watching who's maybe contemplating a career as an actor, why was training so important to you, do you think?
I don't know.
Ah.
It seemed a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't actually regretted it.
Uh-huh.
I had a mixture accent of Greenock.
Yeah.
Not really Greenock, because it's a very difficult accent for me to do.
Oh, really?
Very difficult. my friends would all go, no.
That's not right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
We trained, Rose Bruford herself had been the teacher at with the singers, with the choir,
Oh, yeah.
and she taught opera singers to act.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
Up to then, they'd never
bothered.
truly act.
No.
So she had that attitude to it. She performed herself. She spoke poetry and that sort of thing. We trained as teachers,
Yeah.
as performers, as directors, and as stage managers.
Amazing.
So it was 5 days a week and 5 evenings a week and,
Yeah.
and Saturday mornings.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, you weren't watching Gerry Anderson shows, we know.
No.
But what were you doing for entertainment? What did you enjoy? Cinema, TV at the time? Early days of TV, I'm guessing?
And TV, no, there were very little of
Yeah.
watching. Cinema, I remember early Bonds and things
Oh,
like
right.
that.
Yes. And was there a little part of you that thought that you'd like to be up there on the screen?
Oh,
one day?
yes, that's the reason
So,
for going there.
so you were driven. Were you a driven young actor?
No.
With ambition at all?
No, the man who was driven was Bill Bryden,
Ah, right. Yeah.
who created this company called
Yeah.
Drama Workshop,
Yeah.
in a part of the country which is strong in its amateur theatre. George Square Players and Greenock Players were both big company
see.
names in Scotland.
Yeah.
And so invented a new company of youngsters.
Yeah.
And we did very well. I mean, Peter Evans, who was the sort of looked after the money and all the rest of it, he got us from the corporation, from the council, a shop which was ours to use as we liked as a theatre.
I see.
And, that was wonderful.
Great.
We got support.
And what did your friends and family think at the time then of this young whippersnapper who wanted a life on the screen and on the boards?
They'd never call me a whippersnapper. And I wouldn't give two hoots what they thought.
Right, fair enough. Now, I'd just like to show another clip, if I may.
Yeah.
This is the earliest one I could find of your credits from 1971. So this is from the Last of the Mohicans. So let's take a look at this.
Miss Monroe.
Yes, Mr. Grant.
Miss Monroe, it occurs to me that I may not have the privilege of meeting your father before you and Miss Alice arrive.
Indeed, Mr. Grant.
Colonel Monroe commands Fort William Henry. It's an outpost, Miss Monroe.
Wasn't aware of that, Mr. Grant.
I'm to report to General Webb's headquarters, that at Fort Edward.
I was aware of that too.
What I wish to say is that I may be stationed at Fort Edward.
I see. Thank you, Mr. Grant.
You're very kind, Mr. Grant.
It is even possible that we may meet at Fort Edward.
Then we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, Miss Alice. But General Webb will never allow ladies to go further into the wilderness to your father's command at Fort William Henry.
I'm obliged to you for the information, Mr. Grant.
Not at all, Miss Monroe.
There we are. Fresh-faced Prentis Hancock from The Last of the
You'd
Mohicans.
never believe my face was actually swollen like that.
Oh.
Would you? Because I was directing a play in the West End, a fringe play.
Oh yeah.
At lunchtime. I was rehearsing this, and suddenly my tooth,
Well.
And
No.
I thought you could never do that close up. And
Yeah.
they said, no, it's all right.
Can't tell at all, can you? No, that's right. Well, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because TV of the 70s and 80s, well, it wasn't by any means a young medium then, but still an exciting medium. You had people like John Osborne and Dennis Potter writing for TV plays, some of which you were in. Well, not specifically those writers, but did it feel like an exciting medium at the time, television?
Yes. I mean, it was brand new, and some of it was done live.
Yes. Did you ever have that experience?
I didn't have that experience.
Yeah.
I can imagine it was the nearest I had experience was one of the cop shows. The director or producer always insisted on doing it non-stop.
Right, as live, as it were.
As live.
Yeah. Wow. Stressful.
With cars involved and the car scenes involved
I
and
see.
all that,
Yeah, crazy.
It's quite hairy.
Yeah. Did you find...
People running across this
yes.
set while changing costume.
Yes, of course. Quick. And did you find it easy finding opportunities as an actor in the early days, or were they?
Then, yes. Yeah.
And what would you attribute that to, apart from your obvious talent and good looks?
I had a good agent. Eric Rapine Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I thought less of them later, but at that time, they did very well for me.
Yeah, great. Now, I've mentioned to you that we have some questions from our viewers and listeners,
yes, right.
which we put in our rather lovely Space 1999 lunchbox. I'd like to say it was in your honour, but we have it every week with every guest, but there we are. So I wonder if you could reach into here.
There's some biscuits in there?
Yeah, I'm afraid not. Sorry to disappoint you. Maybe next time.
Take one? Two?
Yeah, take one for now, and then I'll pass it back, and we'll see how many we get through.
This is from Peter Littman.
Aha.
Prentis, I love your work, not only in Space 1999, but in other 90s scenes. In your honest opinion, were you happy with the scripts in Space 1999? Or were you more of the side of Barry Morse, who apparently liked to have had more human drama?
Oh, right.
Personally, I thought season 1 was perfect the way it was, but would love to hear your thoughts as a professional actor.
Okay.
I thought space was something else.
Yeah.
There's a happy quality about it.
Yeah.
No one seemed to get annoyed having to go to work.
Right.
We all went there with a happy, good face on.
Yeah, yeah.
The scripts were happy. I think Barry Morse, well, human drama, I don't know. I thought there was human drama.
Mm-hmm.
There could have been more.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was perfect in every way too.
Yeah, yes, right.
I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Well, I mean...
I was very disappointed not to be involved in the second series. Although once they'd taken main mission out of it, they destroyed the setup
Yes.
of that series.
That's right. That's right.
Which I cover in my foreword.
Okay, which we'll come to shortly. Did you have any conversations about the second series, or was that just not offered
That
at
was
all?
not.
Right.
I was led up the garden path, actually. I mean, sometime prior to the showing, the starting rehearsal again, there was a party at Bob Brooks's production company where he was one of the directors, I think, in the second series. Had a party and my wife was there because she worked with on the commercials that Bob Brooks did at that place.
I see.
And it was all, I expected to be
Yeah.
da-da-da.
Yeah.
First I heard about it was calls from Xenia and Nick Tate on the day, saying, where are you?
That's cruel, isn't it?
Well,
but that's the business.
I remember this agent of mine appeared at the end of Series 1. We were finishing off. And, he was smiles, and I thought, therefore, he was down to talk to them about me.
Yes.
But I suspect he was there to talk about Nick Tate. And he never mentioned it to me, or that I wasn't in the second series.
Right. Really? Yeah.
It's just extraordinary.
Yes, isn't it? Yeah.
And so we, after a year of that, and there was very little coming from his office to me, I said, enough's enough.
Right. But happy memories nonetheless of the actual time you spent...
Oh, the actual time,
on
yes,
the series, yeah, good. Take another question, anyone you like.
This one's from Jeff Tilley. Prentice and his moustache were iconic. Did he ever shave it off for a role? Oh, yes.
Yes, well, we saw you in Last of the Mohicans there.
Well, Last Mohicans, yeah.
Was that prior to your moustache, or a conscious decision about your image or your brand, I suppose we might call it today, or just facial hair?
Just had, I liked it, because it used to come down here a bit more, and
and it suited you well. You carried it brilliantly.
Hi, Prentice, big fan. This is from Kevin Gunter. You appeared in two of my favourite shows, The New Avengers and Return of the Saint. Can you recall any memories of working on these two shows? Thank you.
Right.
Yes, I can. The other day I was stopped by someone in the street who'd just seen The New Avengers, and how funny it was.
Yes, right.
It's nice.
Do you like looking back on your career?
Well, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But, I like looking back in a nice way if somebody's enjoying it still.
How?
It's a scene, I think, where her pyjamas are slipping down.
Right. Would you ever have guessed that decades later people would be stopping you in the street?
No, that's why.
And I suppose that's all because of the advent of physical media, of DVDs and Blu-rays and so on.
Yeah.
Do you collect any of your work on? No, not at
all.
Well,
I say no. I have the full catalogue of protectors.
Right.
And I have space.
Okay.
I mean, I get given them.
Yes.
Go to a convention.
There they are.
So, they can go on the shelf.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah. I think there was another one you pulled out there as well. Were there two there?
Oh, yes. Duncan Moss.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Prentice. What is a performance or stage or in film or television that you are most proud of? I still think it's the very first telly I did. I think it's the first. I think it happened before. Very early, anyway.
Yeah.
I did a play about the army.
Uh-huh.
And I had, apparently I had the real serial number of the man, but I didn't have his name. And he was a nutter, a Catholic, who wanted out of the army.
Right.
Hated the army.
Yeah.
Hated everything. God, everything.
Yeah.
And the other character in it was a young man who was a priest, preacher.
Yeah.
Less traditional than the Catholic.
Right.
And a fight between these two.
Right.
In which I, the bad man, burn this other guy on the stove in the middle of the hut.
Did you say this was a play on the stage?
Yeah.
Right.
No, it was a 30-minute theatre.
I see. Got you.
Which was
TV.
On BBC Two.
I see.
And to prove that I could stand it as much as he could, I then burned myself up.
Doesn't sound a barrel of laughs.
Me McKenna.
Okay.
No one beats me McKenna.
Nice.
And as a result of that, 2 weeks later, I was in another 30-minute theatre for Jack Gold.
Right, yeah.
And we did a play about a guy building a loo in his back garden. You know?
Okay, great. What was your experience like with theatre? Did you ever find yourself on stage much?
Yes.
Or?
Well, I did sort of 5 years on stage, Oldham Rep, a year.
Yeah.
I went up to do a special, to do one play, because I played the guitar.
Yeah.
And it was a lovely play with about Queen Victoria.
Ah, right.
And I was singing, and they said, "Will you stay on, do another one?"
Yeah.
So I did one, and then it became a season.
Ah, I see.
And until I got another telegram on stage inviting me up to Perth.
Lovely.
The old Scottish company of Ian Cuthbertson. That was it for a year.
In those days, did you have a particular preference that you thought your career might go? Would you have preferred more stage work, do you think?
I think in my head there was this idea that you do 5 years on stage.
Right.
Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how. You know, and you learn your craft.
Aha.
Throw away all those stuff you learned at drama school.
Yes, okay.
Some of it.
Yeah.
Because they refashioned my voice, because I had a half Essex, half Scots. But as far as they seemed to think at drama school, I had a Scots accent.
Right.
Because there was a morning I was asked to read the prologue to Henry V. Only the way I said it was, "Oh, for a muse of fire,
Aha.
to ascend the brightest heaven."
Which sounds
fell down.
No, but that sounds beautiful to my ears. That's amazing. You see, nowadays, Prentis, that's exactly what would be required of an actor, to be authentic and to use their authentic accent on stage.
Well, this isn't my authentic accent now.
Yeah. That's right.
But I'd still need a received English.
Yeah.
To be a teacher.
Yeah, right.
Properly.
Right, yes.
Although
maybe.
you never insisted on it from the people who were teaching.
Yeah.
Their authentic accent would do.
Right.
But it had to be understandable to everybody.
Exactly right. It's clarity, isn't it, is the key. That's right. But obviously a very different experience to being on a TV set. I mean, it's worlds apart from being on stage, really. Where did you find yourself feeling more naturally at home? In front of a camera or in front of an audience?
In a way, in front of the audience.
Right.
I mean, the sort of discipline.
Yeah.
Everything changes as the half hour, it's called.
Yeah.
And the stage manager refers to you as Mr. Hancock at all times. And, there's a certain sort of...
Yeah.
Act One, beginners, please.
Yes. Is there part of you that misses all that? The tradition, the rigmarole?
Yeah.
Yeah. And were you a particularly superstitious actor? Did you have various rituals to do before you step out on stage? Great. Let's have a look at another clip, if we may.
Yes.
This features, besides your good self, and a rather amazing cast. And I'd like to see quite how much you remember of this. It's from, I think, 1971 or thereabouts again. Maybe a bit later, 73 perhaps. It's Colditz. So let's have a look at this.
Publish them after the war.
Aye, I might at that.
Yeah, well, posthumous collections always sell better. Your best hope's to die young.
Very good. Yeah, it's just a novel. I don't know why I said that. It's not just a novel. It's The Good Soldier by Ford Madox Ford.
Yeah, it's all about how he built the Model T.
And found true happiness.
Madox Ford. I thought that was kidding. He's kidding. I can see you're a literary man.
There we go. I can only apologise for your face being obscured by the tinsel.
Don't worry.
Robert Wagner, David McCallum.
Yeah.
This was an illustrious cast to be a part of. Did it feel it at the time? Do you remember?
No.
No, just the fellow actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a very nice man. The Scot, I was only involved in one day. I think,
right.
So I met him and that was that. Hello.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Yeah. There we are. An actor's
Bob
life.
Wagner was just a nice guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's astonishing.
They do like talking. They talk the hind legs off a donkey.
About themselves, chiefly? Or?
No, about the show.
Yeah, right, yeah.
What the meaning.
Yes, I see. You're not of that school.
You don't need to be.
Say the lines and don't bump into the furniture. Is that
well,
the...
yes, it's something like that.
Yeah. But how extraordinary to see you all at the start of your careers there.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that, we were talking with Nicholas Young, who did a couple of episodes of Space 1999 as a guest artist. And he was also in Kessler, which was a series at around about the same time.
Yeah.
Also dealing with the effects or events from the Second World War. Because, of course, then we were only 25 years away.
Yeah.
Was that still part of the sort of cultural landscape, do you remember, at the time?
Yeah. I remember about that length of time after the war finished, getting in a lift at Park Royal.
Yeah.
And the producer of Colditz got in the lift too. Yeah. How are you doing? So I'm still doing the Second World War.
Right. Yeah.
Will it ever end?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, because there was a lot to deal with there, I suppose. There's a lot of interesting stories to be told about...
We did one episode of Spy Trap, and we had the one person who got off the hood, and the hood was sunk. It was in the show.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, right. Yeah, incredible. Now, viewers will be aching to know more about your time on Space 1999 and see a few clips. We'll be doing that next time. But for now, I'd just like to finish with a very quick game that we play with all our guests. It's called Quick Fire 5. There's no right or wrong answer, Prentis. Just tell me the first thing that comes into your head. I'm going to give you two options, and you simply must choose one of them. Okay, you ready for these? So, would you rather get home by Space 1999 Eagle or by Slough Taxi's finest car?
Oh no, by the Eagle.
Would you rather have a real-life trip to the moon or a permanent home by the beach on Thunderbirds, Tracy Island?
I'll go to the moon.
Would you? Got no atmosphere, apparently. Where are you happiest as an actor? Science fiction or historical drama?
Historical drama.
Ah, interesting. Now, pick a professor. Space 1999's Victor Bergman or Thunderbirds' Brains?
No, Bergman.
Ah, how could you not? And finally, the Spectrum agents in Captain Scarlet are named after colours. So pick your own out of these two from the Dulux colour range. Are you Captain Nordic Spar or Lieutenant Mineral Mist?
Nordic Spar.
Nordic Spar seems to suit you. Yeah, it does. That's great. Thank you so much, Prentis. Thank you for joining us this week. And we look forward to hearing more stories from your time at Pinewood on the set of Space 1999 and beyond next week. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Prentis Hancock! As you know, I love talking to actors who've been there and done it.
You do, don't you?
I do. I find it very moving
You wish
to
you
see
could do it for a
people
living, really.
who've had a bit of a career behind them,
Yeah.
reminiscing about their life and times.
No, it's lovely.
And I think it's probably because I wish I was a bit like that and I had a career to reminisce about.
Oh, you do. Think of all those hundreds of episodes of the Gerry Anderson podcast.
Do you think
you've done.
I mean, let's face it, Prentis is in his 80s now.
Yeah.
So do you think in 25 years' time there might be new hosts of the podcast and they might wheel me out to talk about my time at Pinewood.
Yeah, I'm
in
sort of
1994.
envisaging that thing where Podley's in the wheelchair with the breathing mask on.
Oh,
That's
don't wish
you.
that on me. Oh,
Yeah.
No, I think I'll be sprightly.
No, you probably will be.
Yeah, that's what I like to think. Anyway, more from the sprightly Prentis Hancock next week.
Yes, can't wait.
Yeah, he'll be telling us more about his later career, as well as, of course, diving back into space 1999.
Can't help it, can you?
No, of
Not
course
on
you
this show.
can't. Iconic is a much overused word, but in this instance, I think I'm getting away with it. Space
I think so.
1999, Paul
Yeah,
Morrow.
absolutely.
What other word fits?
What a great moustache.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's head on over to our YouTube channel.
Oh, a YouTube channel, eh?
Pod 286 saw Sadie Miller talking about Stingray and all things Doctor Who, of course,
Yes.
being the voice of Sarah Jane Smith for Big Finish. Scofair5551 says, can Richard play Santa in the Christmas episode? Well, I didn't. And Jamie in his Joe 90 jumpsuit.
Sadly left it behind.
Yeah, that would have been seasonal. He says, Chris can wear his Dalek costume. Chris, do you have a Dalek costume?
Do you know, I was meant to get one, but
When's your birthday?
July.
Okay.
Right.
Time to save.
Let's start. Ian Dealey 9033 writes, apart from the audio error on the randomiser, Richard, I really enjoyed this week's podcast, particularly the interview with Sadie Miller.
Yes.
I think that Liz Sladen would be proud of the fact her daughter is now doing the voice of Sarah Jane Smith. I think her mum would love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Never met Liz Sladen. Totally gushed about that.
Yeah,
one
absolutely
of
right.
the Doctor Who actors I really was desperate to meet.
Yeah, of course.
But Sadie's awesome.
Oh, wonderful.
And I've got to direct her doing,
You did.
Genesis stuff.
You
lovely,
did, yeah,
lovely,
that's
lovely.
right. Yeah, and sorry about the audio error. I did, as soon as it was pointed out by the illustrious randomiser, upload a clean version of the podcast. And I did wonder, well, should I take the first one down?
Nah.
But actually, having the second one as a premiere, I think it enticed a few more people in.
Yeah.
So that was quite handy. So they're both up there. You can watch either the,
the correct one or the out of time one. Up to you.
Up to you, exactly. Stephanie. Steaphany. For Pod 300, broadcast it live from Tracy Island on the tropical beach under palm trees.
Perfect.
I'll leave that with you, Jamie.
I'll book the private jet. See you there.
Oh, imagine. Maybe we could do it on a beach somewhere. We could record it on a beach.
Yeah, Blackpool.
If you live in Blackpool, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, but I'm
Illustrious
just saying
Venice
that's
of
a
the
beach that we could get to.
Sure, yeah, there you go.
Under the lost episode discovery, which is You've Never Seen This, episode 3.
Yes, I enjoyed that.
Russell Potter 7294 said, we used to have some really interesting shows that actually taught and informed both adults and kids, didn't we?
Did we?
Now we have less informative shows and more cookery and current affairs that are not informative, but just manage to create a competitive atmosphere.
Oh.
I do miss shows that don't lecture or shout at us.
Maybe that's why he watches the
Now
Gerry
listen
Anderson
here,
podcast.
Russell Potter. Let me... No, I'm joking.
I think it depends what you watch. I think it's
Absolutely,
still informative and interesting stuff out there. There are whole channels devoted to it. History Channel and, all sorts of stuff going on.
There's even podcasts about Gerry Anderson that you can watch.
Who would have thought? And they're not preachy at all, are they?
Never.
Any idea, says Don M, what episodes 1 and 4 of You've Never Seen This were about? Need a time machine to go back and recover those odd bits of history. Funniest part was the guy wondering if he could find a woman with even one brain and the woman standing next to him not reacting at all.
Well, it was a different time, wasn't it?
It was, as
And
Mark
those-
Dowse says, yes, the good old days.
In inverted commas, we should
Yeah,
say.
That's
Yes,
right.
they're heavy
Yeah,
there.
different times. What about episodes 1 to 4?
Well, I know that Dad went to Holland and met a guy, I want to say sort of balanced on steeples, on church steeples or something very odd like that.
Right. Yeah.
But they went around and met all sorts of people. There was a guy trying to break the land speed record on a bike, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, all
Good.
sorts of bits and pieces, which we'll probably never see. Sad.
It is sad, isn't it? Yeah, there we are. All for now. YouTube channels there for you to enjoy.
Yeah,
Lots
there's
of
stuff out there, you can do whatever.
Honestly, it's a world in and of itself.
It is.
The Gerry Anderson YouTube channel.
Yes, many hundreds and hundreds of hours
That's
of
right.
content.
So dive in and comment nicely beneath, and we'll read them out.
Yeah.
For sure. Good. Talking about nice things.
Yes.
Oh, it's that time of the podcast when we hand over to Chris Dale on the Randomiser sofa for the Randomiser.
He's so nice.
Yes. So shall we see what Prentis picks for him today?
Oh, yes. Paul Morrow pressing the button.
Yeah. I wonder if
Can't
it'll be
wait.
Space 1999.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't
Who
it?
knows? Over to you.
So, Prentis, thank you very much for coming all the way to see us in Slough today for the very first Gerry Anderson podcast of 2024. Do you feel up to pressing the button on the randomiser for us today?
I do. Now?
Well, yes, please,
Here
have
we
at
go.
it, yep. Oh, well done. Thank you very much. Is there any particular series you're hoping to see come up today? I think maybe you'd be hoping for 1999, wouldn't you?
Well, I think so, yes.
I mean, Anton Phillips got 1999 when he pressed the button, but now you've got Thunderbirds.
Oh,
today.
Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds, yes, and it's actually one of my favourite episodes. So thank you very much for that. It's Path of Destruction. Here we go. Thank you very much, Prentis. Will you come back next week and press it again for us?
Next week?
Next week. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. See you then. So, it's been a long time coming to our new podcast studio in Slough, but finally, we have some Thunderbirds. I think we're still owed an episode of the original Scarlet, but otherwise I think every other show, except for Dick Spanner, has appeared here now. Thunderbirds really took some time to turn up.
He's late, you know.
Yeah, he's late, you know, yeah. But as you saw, Prentis Hancock has the magic touch. He produced this episode for us today. And what could be more appropriate to watch on New Year's Day than a good old-fashioned disaster movie, which is what the best episodes of Thunderbirds provide. Now then, Path of Destruction is also, long-time Randomiser listeners may have picked up on the fact that the second series episodes of Thunderbirds we've been working through in reverse order, and this is not planned, this is just genuinely random how it's come up. And we have now, obviously we haven't seen Atlantic Inferno yet, episode 1 of series 2, but with this turning up, we will have seen all of series 2 in reverse order. So I think we deserve a sticker for that. That's our sticker for achieving something very minor and insignificant. But this is one of my favourite episodes of the show. And just look at this thing. This thing has disaster written all over it. It's just beautiful, beautiful, technological. I love as well that just when you think there can't be any more of it to come on the screen, there's another whole section of it wheeled past the camera. Oh, beautiful stuff.
Space control, they might get a bit worried.
Yes.
I suppose
What could possibly be worrying about this giant yellow monstrosity with claws and saws and its own ominous theme music, which is reused from Pit of Peril? And it's reused far more extensively in this episode than it ever was there. But I just love the look of this thing.
Park there for the night. I guess you want to fresh up.
I love as well all the support vehicles in this episode. There's really nice colours on them. I really like that shade of yellow, oddly enough, on the crab logger.
Coming with us, Sims?
Oh, I'd better not, Jensen. I got a couple of things I want to fix.
So, the crab logger, for it is the famous crab logger, and its crew have arrived in South America at base camp. The crew and some of the support staff are off out to dinner. And we see some familiar puppets in this restaurant here. I believe that chap up the back playing the guitar could be Jeremiah Tuttle.
This is your first trip to the tropics?
I think there's also two guys sitting together out the front who are, one of them may also be in this restaurant somewhere.
Crab logger on its first contract. Well, I'm certainly glad we got experts with us here on the job.
And again, this is something that you get with the longer running time of this show. Spending time with the guest characters, getting to know who these people are. And I like all of these guys.
Signores, what can I offer?
Which is
can we see the menu?
You know, I think Thunderbirds would work just as well if you didn't have that time to form an attachment with the characters. But it's just an added bonus, really.
Anchas cooks his beef in a very special way.
Yeah, thank you, senor.
Yes, so we're having the special in Sancho's place.
And strong and plenty of it. That's okay. I'll try the special too.
And to me.
Yes.
And for me, the usual. Thick and rare and juicy.
Very good. That is 3 specials and 1 steak, huh?
That's right. Now, hurry it up, will you, Sancho?
But you wouldn't want to eat in this place, would you? It is quite...
Special is the cooking in this place.
Yeah. I like as well that, you know, I've often praised the sets in this show, quite rightly. It's just, that looks beautiful and that looks stunning. And here they've really gone all out, creating a crummy, mouse-infested, messy kitchen. And it just, it all looks so believable as well. This pot on the stove of God only knows what that she's about to serve up.
It's
just,
everything in this place is Ari. So they will have to wait.
Yeah, it's also grimy and lived in. That's another great strength of these sets, is when you feel like this is a real world.
There and receive the processed materials which are...
Yes, the Crab Logger is another of those very environmentally friendly Anderson vehicles that's just designed to tear down nature in all its forms.
30 barrels of pulp.
To provide sweet, sweet wood pulp for the benefit of mankind.
Gosh, I can't wait to get started tomorrow. I just wish Jim Lucas was here to see the Crab Logger show its muscles. I wonder how the food's getting on.
Oh.
He's ready.
How can you tell? Gosh, actually it looked better in the close-ups than it did in the long shot.
Smell good, yes?
Maria.
And this is an interesting puppet playing Maria. You didn't really see... I mean, this is an odd thing to say, but there weren't that many female guest puppets in Thunderbirds that weren't, for lack of a better word, glamorous. I mean, even Grandma, to a certain extent, looks pretty. She's, but I love that puppetry. I love his reaction there to that steaming pile of manure that he's been served up. Yeah, but Maria is such an unusual puppet for this show, but a beautiful caricature of nobody in particular.
Okay, Sims, let's get this operation underway.
Yeah, off we go. Yes, turn on the blinking, flashing light to know where we are. That's stage one. Very important. We're going to be following that blinking, flashing light.
Well, there's Franklin's programming for the Crab Logger. I just wish he was here for the start of the clearing operation.
There's a lot of moments in the early part of this episode where people wish that someone else was here to see what's going on. But yes, the Matt Zimmerman guy who was with them last night for dinner, he's not there today. He's not feeling too well. But luckily, this reused Stingray music, also recognise that Jeep.
Here comes the tanker to service the tanks.
Yes, this reused Stingray music will see us along.
I expect the transporters are on their way too now.
Quite nicely. I also like as well the way they get the information across to you about how the Crab Logger processing plant works, because very often in Thunderbirds and Stingray and that era of Anderson shows, it was like you would have two characters in a room or an office or wherever they worked, suddenly having conversations about things they should already know. And there it was very much, it felt, again, more natural. Also, I love that bit in the restaurant where he starts drawing out the plan. Ah, goodness, yes. It's so beautiful. Yes, more, I think I probably said this when we watched The Big Gun, but this is that episode is just a beautiful soundtrack. I love this stuff. And of course, they're locking themselves in the Crab Logger very, very tightly so no one can get at them from outside. I don't know who they think is going to possibly get aboard the Crab Logger. Ewoks maybe, but...
Let's have the radiation.
Yes, our crew, our two-man crew, are now locked in the Crab Logger. They've even got radiation shields because of course the thing has got a nuclear reactor on board that needs servicing in, I don't know, 3 hours, probably less knowing this show. But again, just the scale of this as it rolls out, and with that wonderful, just endless plodding music, I suspect that possibly part of the Crab Logger model is reused from the Gray and Houseman road construction vehicle that I think was also in Atlantic Inferno. May have also been painted yellow for that episode.
Right.
But I like as well that it's not just the scale of the Crab Logger, it's the fact that it's and quite unique to Thunderbirds. I think only really the Sidewinder comes close, is that they've almost sort of anthropomorphized this thing, because it has the arms and it has a head with eyes and such, and of course it has this great big mouth. So it really is like a living creature almost, just tearing its way through the jungle. Yeah, the sight of it tearing down all these trees, though, in the 60s, you know, yay, technology! Technology's going to solve all the problems. That was one of the main, you know, beliefs of there's another one. He wished so-and-so was there to see it. There's one of the main beliefs of this show. And then you kind of get to where we are now, and you look at this sort of disregard for the environment and think, yes, this wouldn't fly in the real world today. Not that we could build anything like this in the real world today.
John Peterson? Yeah.
And of course, the crab logger reappeared in the CGI show as well a few years ago.
And nearly ready to release the first cargo.
And our crew are now feeling a bit poorly. They've got their blinker heads on, so you know it's serious. Yeah, this is what a support vehicle, I think, was modified to become the Yellow Fox tanker. Certainly one of them was in Captain Scarlet.
Put us on its way.
Yes, they're getting a bit hot and a bit sweaty. They're having trouble keeping their eyes open. This is a fairly... Oh, Peterson's out. Yeah, this is a fairly tame way to show the effects of food poisoning, because, as you probably know in real life, if they were both down with food poisoning, it would not be a pretty sight. But the first of the tankers is here to unload the crab logger, because trees go in the front, processed wood pulp comes out the back. So it's important that we keep the stuff being loaded off the back to make sure that the processing plant doesn't get clogged with debris and hopefully not too many living creatures. No poor animal had a nest in that tree. But again, just the visuals there, the models, beautiful, the rolling background, beautiful. You've got so many layers in just one shot that all go into creating this world. It's lovely.
And close down the reactor. No, we can't. It'll be all right, Jansen. I can handle her.
And this character, McCall, who's about to collapse, was voiced by John Tate. This was one of his half a dozen episodes of Thunderbirds that he did voices in. Father of Nick Tate.
He's passed out.
Well, this is a fine predicament, isn't it? It's just, it's beautiful, Thunderbirds. We have an insane machine, totally out of control. The crew are unconscious, and you can't get into the thing. And it's veered away from its programmed route.
We just can't stop her. McCall can't have got to that remote switch in time.
No.
But Jansen, the village, it's right in the path of the crab logger.
Oh dear. San Martino, yes. Oh, just... It's something very, I don't know what the word is, but just the sight of this thing ploughing through the countryside with that wonderful music. Oh, it's beautiful stuff.
Look, we've got to keep the tankers feeding her with superon and keep the transporters unloading her. If that processing machine got jammed, the whole thing could explode and raise everything to the ground within...
I also like this Jansen character. He's
those fellas have got the same bug as Franklin.
He's very, very level-headed. And it's an interesting puppet that I don't recall seeing in any other episode.
It can handle this situation.
You're kidding.
He probably did somewhere.
Crab logger base calling international rescue.
Yeah, see, he's the one who thinks of international rescue. The other guy hasn't got a clue.
This is an emergency.
Dramatic close-up. I always love when they give the puppets a dramatic close-up.
But you have warned the village. Oh, yeah. One of the transporters.
Oh, yeah. We did that first. Yeah, this is the second season Thunderbird 5 control room set. Oh, in the next... Well, no, we're just over half an hour left.
With luck, that machine might bypass the village. But one thing's for sure. It's heading straight for the San Martino Dam.
Ah, okay. Right, yes, we hadn't mentioned that. I love that as well, though. It's just like, even if you avoid disaster in the village, there's an even bigger disaster waiting afterwards. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I like the Season 2 control room set for Thunderbird 5.
Well, that's the position, Father.
I mean, it's probably largely the Season 1 control room set, but I like that sort of TARDIS console pillar thing in the middle of the room.
Yes, sir.
Off he goes.
Stay in touch with the satellite. John will keep you posted. Tintin?
Yes, Mr. Tracy?
Take a letter, Tintin.
To come up here right away.
Yes, Mr. Tracy.
And an interesting way to do the launch sequence here, because we get Scott going, but I think we're not going to see the whole thing with him.
Ah, good. You know the situation, Brains?
Yes, Mr. Tracy. Tintin tells me that a crab logging machine has gone out of control.
Got any ideas about how we should cope with this?
Well, Jim Lucas is our man.
If he can't do it, no one can.
National in England.
Brains is wearing one of his snazzier jackets today.
But if we wait till International Rescue gets there, it might be too...
Also like Virgil's gear in this one.
If we contacted him direct.
That's right, Virgil.
But you do that anyway.
I've got a better idea.
You can call him up and say, this is International Rescue, give us the codes to the crab logger, mate. There's nothing to stop them doing that. But we're coming up on Penelope's introduction to the story, which I think handles or integrates her and Parker really well. And that's not something that I say often in the second series, because I think I've said that before. We've established Penelope and Parker, big hit with the audience. We want to keep pushing those, understandably. But then we have episodes like Lord Parker's Holiday and Alias Mr. Hackenbacker, where it's almost like it's become the Penelope and Parker show with International Rescue guest starring.
Sherry.
This is a fine integration of these characters with a proper International Rescue story. And I sometimes wonder if maybe it would have helped slightly to rejig the running order of Series 2. So instead of 2 International Rescue heavy episodes, followed by 2 Penelope and Parker focused episodes, have this placed third and go with one of the Penelope and Parker ones second.
It may have to be sandwiches instead.
Oh,
Very good, blood.
Mrs. Harris is now having heart palpitations. Sandwiches? Very deep cut for our Joe 90 fans here.
Splendid of you to call. Is it business or pleasure?
Well, let's put it this way, Penny. It's always a pleasure to do business with you.
Ooh, he's so smooth.
I want you to contact Jim Lucas of Robotics International.
Yeah, she'll do whatever you say now.
We need to know the shutdown procedure.
I'm wondering if if Brains fed Jeff that line, just to butter her up a bit.
Late evening with you, won't it?
Yes, Jeff. He won't be at the plant now.
That makes it a bit difficult, Penny, but we must contact him. People's lives are in danger.
Leave it with me.
It's also nice that they acknowledge the time difference between Tracy Island and England. And it's not the puppeteer finger helping Penelope ring the bell there. Yeah, in Lord Parker's Holiday as well, you have that inclusion of the time differential there.
Get out the Rolls Royce.
Base from Thunderbird 1. Base from Thunderbird 1. Proceeding to danger zone. Any new developments, Father?
I've contacted Penelope to get her to find out the shutdown procedure of the reactor in the crab logger. Virgil's blasting off at any moment now, Scott, so he'll be with you soon. And I'm sending Brains with him.
Yay.
I just hope that Penelope can find Jim Lucas.
Nobody asked you, Brains. Where is poor old Tintin in all of this? He's just doing the washing up or listening to Ricochet. There's no reason she couldn't have tagged along. And I tend to stop talking at this point because it's easy. It's an easy space to cut time with the Thunderbird 2 launch. So, yeah, come back to me once the thing's taken off. Pretty please. I should have said please. I do apologise.
Tracy, another rescue operation is underway.
And once again, I'm not
I
involved.
hope we can pull this one off. That machine's just got to be stopped.
You know, Mr. Tracy, I'm an engineer of, some ability. I could have gone along. No, Tintin, no, it's far too dangerous. Poor Tintin. Oh, I hadn't noticed before at the beginning of that shot. And again, it just shows that even after all these years, you can still see things in here for the first time. I hadn't noticed, like, background buildings on the painting behind the crab logger there, showing it approaching the town. And there it is. Oh, I love that shot. I love so many shots in this episode. And this thing has just got so many wheels. Oh, the model's kind of seized up. No, nothing's going to stop it. Yeah, so many wheels. But also I would imagine that setting up that brick wall would have been a nightmare, because if you just knock one out of alignment, the whole thing's going to fall down. I can't remember who highlighted this as one of their favourite moments on the podcast not too long ago, but it's just beautiful. You've got so many models like this that just, they have to look like they're solid, but they also have to be ready to fall apart at a moment's notice. It's just great stuff. So the crab logger is now making its way through the village. And policeman, didn't catch his name, is getting over to the dam site, because everyone here is evacuated, luckily. Oh dear. Yes, I mean, by and large, the people here are getting off fairly lightly, damage-wise. They've lost some walls. And it's not like when the Zero X crashed on Craigsville and everybody lost everything because the entire town was just boom. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Everyone's okay except for that one building. Yeah. Oh dear. I'm also kind of surprised, but also a bit relieved that there's no sort of military involvement with this. You know, there isn't an angry general saying, unless you stop it in this time, I'm going to blow it up. Yeah, that would have been a bit cliche.
We're about 80 minutes behind you.
Yeah.
Right, Virgil.
And that means we have about 45 minutes after arrival before the crab logger reaches the dam.
Oh, more Pit of Peril music. I love it with these shows when Barry Gray does a piece of music for an episode and then seems to forget all about it until like 30 episodes later, or even several series later. I think famously there's that piece in the ghost ship, Stingray.
It's international rescue.
And I thought to call them, I'm the best. Yeah, that piece in the ghost ship that is only heard once in Stingray, and then suddenly Barry Gray finds it again in UFO and suddenly is using it all over the place. So, Scott has arrived in Thunderbird 1. And this control vehicle that I think is where Jansen and the other guy are, was also reused in Captain Scarlet. It's the ambulance that takes him away at the end of Winged Assassin.
And shut down the reactor.
You think you can do it, Scott?
Well, I guess we can get into the crab logger okay, but we must have the shutdown procedure for the reactor as soon as we do. It's going to be that close.
But Penelope and Parker are on the case. I suspect that's reused footage of Fab 1 there. Not that it matters. So they've now arrived at the Robotics International Limited. Thank you, sign. That prevented the old brain box from having to think about it. Again, I like this little security hut.
I'm afraid, madam, that would be quite out of the question.
Another character voiced by John
Can't
Tate.
give away information about the personnel of the company without written permission.
But, officer, this is terribly important.
So you keep repeating, madam, but you've never even offered an explanation.
I tell you, I can't explain. Is that the personnel file there?
Yes, it is.
And you still insist on
Yes, I do have to admit to you that that's what it is. I believe this puppet turned up again in the same costume in Alias Mr. Hackenbacker. This is an odd moment, though, where they paralyse this poor guard with a ray. It's a bit, I think, a bit too futuristic for Penelope and Parker. But I guess if the alternative was Penelope, I don't know, bludgeoning him or something. Yeah, James Lucas. She's got his address.
But I have to find Mr. Lucas tonight. I assure you, you'll suffer no after effects of this beam. And thanks for this. I'll see that it's returned to you.
Oh, that's good of her. Is he going to be able to? Yes, he's raised the alarm just as he passed out. And there's those guard dogs that were implied earlier by the keep out guard dogs sign.
I trust you got the information you require, milady.
Oh yes, Parker. Your aiming, as usual, was impeccable.
Thank you, milady. Where to now, madam?
20 Hazelmere Gardens, Aylsham. And full speed ahead, Parker. We mustn't let Scott and Virgil down. They'll be relying on us.
Yeah, I thoroughly accept and appreciate the way they incorporate Penelope and Parker here. They didn't have to be here, but it's just, it feels genuine. It doesn't feel like they're being shoehorned in, unlike, I said, those few later episodes where, well, it's not even that they're being shoehorned in, it's that they've kind of been just given their own starring roles in really what feels almost like a different series entirely. So we have Pod 3, and what wonderful piece of technology are we going to roll out to deal with this problem? I can't remember what this is called. Is it the monocrane? It's basically a sort of cherry picker, a hoist that can be raised up from the back of a vehicle.
You'll be hearing from us. Right. Hold tight.
We see a couple of, I think there's another vehicle coming up later possibly, that again is only seen in this episode, but it's nice that they have more than just the mole, the firefly and so on. They wouldn't necessarily be much use in this situation.
Looks like somebody's had an accident. Shall I stop, milady?
Oh dear, the time.
Prime the machine guns, Parker. And this I've always found an odd moment, because it rather conflicts with the terrible road accident that Penelope caused back in Vault of Death,
We really must help
in which she caused some poor driver to swerve off the road and crash into a tree and didn't do anything. I've sometimes wondered if this scene was like included as kind of like a, no, see, she can be nice. She doesn't always leave people to die in horrible road accidents. Again, I like this presentation of the character. I think my notes on that moment are kind of more, really, they're notes on Vault of Death. I just find that moment so unpleasant, really, that she basically forces someone off the road to their death for a joke. Whereas here it is like, yeah, of course they would stop to help someone in distress. They're international rescue. Be it someone in a car crash or someone stuck in the crab logger with food poisoning.
Okay, Scott. We're in position. Now hold tight, boys. Going up.
Yeah, so Virgil and Brains are being lowered onto, well, no, not lowered onto, they're being raised onto the crab logger. Yeah. And of course, we have to get them from the hoist to the onto the crab logger. It's going to involve a bit of a jump from one to the other.
Forward 4 feet.
How do we imply that has happened?
Right. We're level with the control cabin. Hold her there.
FAB.
We're aboard.
we just kind of show it. We just kind of say that we're were aboard. I mean, Brains did jump there. It was very brave of him.
Scott, Virgil is about to start using the laser beam on the hatchway.
We're gonna need Penelope's information about the reactor pretty soon.
Yeah, and we're getting too near to the dam for my liking.
Oh, so they've made the injured man comfortable. They've put out little beacon lights for an ambulance to find
It seems
him.
to be concussion mainly, and there's a broken leg, I fear. But
Oh,
I've made
so her Girl Guides first aid training has come in handy.
Well, I think I can hear the ambulance now, officer.
I also love the pink telephone.
Terribly important appointment.
And for this show, that's a fairly... You know, you don't always associate the technology in this show with being small necessarily, in the way that our own devices are today. But that was, yeah, you could probably get away with using that as a real mobile phone today. So,
International rescue to base control.
How far are we from the dam now?
Virgil and Brains are cutting their way aboard.
Rescue. Unless the reactor in that machine is closed down before it reaches the dam, well, I hate to think what will happen.
Ooh.
Okay, I understand. Now, how are things at the dam itself? They're evacuating the site now. I'm waiting for final confirmation of clearance.
Yes, and at this dam we find... I recognise that lorry. I think that was a real toy that was available at the time, and I'm sure we've seen it in other episodes. I think it was sort of buzzing around the bottom of the sun probe, and there's a familiar face. That's the naughty general from Edge of Impact that was in league with the Hood. General Braun. Yes.
Manuel, can't you get it into your head when that crab logger falls into the dam, as it's going to do in about 10 minutes, the reactor's going to explode and tear the wall of the dam apart and release so much water into the valleys that not one village is going to be left standing.
It's a pretty grim picture, all told.
The site is clear. Get into that car and beat it.
Only 2 more weeks' work to complete this dam. And now we're evacuating.
And you've kind of feel for him, and it's quite impressive for a one-scene character. I don't think he comes back again. Also nice that the police guy was hanging around there. Yes, he didn't even have a chance to save all his papers so that he could build another dam. You also wonder what fallout there was from all this. Presumably Sancho's restaurant was closed down soon after, considering that it crushed half a village. Yes, Maria's cooking.
Well, there's not a window or door unlocked, milady.
Oh dear, then I'm afraid there's only one thing left for us to do.
Oh dear.
Seeing that men...
Find a brick, Parker.
Great. So might I trouble you for the loan of an hairpin, milady?
Ah, nod to a previous episode there.
Well, fellas, what have you found up there?
The 2 boys don't look too good, Scott.
That's putting it mildly. Again, I like the body language with Virgil checking the guy's pulse there, and measuring it against his own watch. Again, I don't think this is how food poisoning works. It would be like, we need buckets, lots of buckets, disinfectant. Oh dear. And again, the music just does so much to lift what are already gorgeous visuals. Yeah, it's just that. I mean, some of this Pit of Peril music reminds me of kind of old Disney music, and I'm not sure what film I'm thinking of. I want to say The Jungle Book. Kind of like the music of the elephants, if that makes sense. That these are, the Sidewinder and the Crab Logger are like these huge, lumbering, unstoppable beasts almost. But here we are in the bedroom of Jim Lucas and wife.
Move, Mr. Lucas.
Oh, Penelope
is pointed straight at your head.
Yes, got a gun pointed at his head. Because, you know, she may be... I may have given her praise through this episode, but, you know, she's got to get a bit of needless brutality in there somewhere.
And no harm will come to you.
Now look here. What's that meaning?
Quietly, Mr. Lucas.
Now look here. Ah, yes, and interesting again. This is not the first time, nor is it the last time, that you see a married couple in separate beds in Anderson shows. The Zeros in Fireball XL5 slept in separate beds. I think even into UFO, in the Psycho Bombs, David Collins sleeps in a separate bed from his wife. I think actually in Flight Path, doesn't Carol Roper, don't her and her husband sleep in separate rooms? You wouldn't expect to see it in a Supermarionation show, them in the same bed, but I suppose actually the first... Well, no, I was going to say you don't see characters sharing a bed in any of the Anderson puppet shows, but of course you do, because we've all seen the bit from Torchy. Torchy in bed with the old man, of course.
Coffee, Mr. Tracy?
Oh, thank you, Tintin. What a good idea.
Yes, well done, Tintin. That's all you're good for now, Tintin. It's a shame.
What's the latest, John?
Well, Father, Virgil and Brains got the two guys out of the crab logger, and base control are having them shipped out to hospital.
Good. And now they're waiting.
That's right. I'm standing by to transmit Penelope's instructions for the close down of the reactor.
He's been standing by all night, and his hair still looks perfect. Good old John. But this is a nice visual as well, as Lucas is reciting the information to Penelope. It's being spoken into her recorder, which she is now about to transmit to Thunderbird 5, which in turn, Thunderbird 5 will then transmit to Scott and Virgil on the ground. Oh, she throws it to him. Parker's off to feed it into Fab 1.
I'm going to leave you. For reasons too complicated to explain, I shall first send you back to sleep.
Oh, she's got a sleeper cartridge. Ooh.
I knew what this is all about. I was just hoping to get to know you better, too. You...
Oh, smooth guy.
Got a lovely voice.
Dear. Oh. Someone's marriage is, if not already on the rocks, it's certainly heading in that direction. More on that later.
Previously held the remote control lever in position.
So, we've got the information to shut down the crab logger. All, no doubt, will soon be well.
To close the reactor down completely, you must depress the button marked Closing Release. The unit incorporates a time lag of about 3 minutes, after which the crab logger should stop.
3 minutes? Brains, we'll never make it in time.
Oh, no. I love that shot as well. Yes, that sign just being crushed under the crab logger. I also, and it was mentioned, but thankfully, and I don't think you could show it, they get the unconscious crew out of the crab logger, and Scott rushes them to hospital. I don't know how you would have shown that on screen. They just kind of have to... Virgil or Brains kind of throwing them overboard, and Scott leaning out the window trying to catch them.
All we can do now is wait.
Ah, dear.
Might as well take a look outside.
But it's nice as well to have our actual heroes of the show put in danger by the runaway machine here.
Scott, we've closed down the reactor and we're waiting now for the time lag to run out.
Virgil, what are the chances?
We're heading for some kind of a ledge.
Some kind of a ledge. Could be a ledge. I was also noticing, I think I recognised in the background there, the safety beam lever control console from Thunderbird 3, from Sunprobe. But this is all good stuff as well, where the crab logger starts to shut down on the edge of the cliff.
If the crab logger falls into that basin, even supposing the machine is stopped, the tanks will go up and bust the walls of the dam. I'm coming in now to offload the tanks.
You haven't a hope. There's no time. Look at the chart.
Again, I love as well with this one, and it's kind of a hallmark of the very best Thunderbirds episodes where, okay, we've solved this bit, that's done. Oh, but there's another bit. Okay, oh, but there's one, and there's another, and there's another. There's this never-ending stream of just, oh, and one more thing. If you don't do this, bang. Ah, dear. It's a beautiful model. Not long for this world, of course. the cliff starts to disintegrate beneath it. Oh no! Not the truck. Yes, that's the ambulance, the yellow one, from Captain Scarlet.
2 minutes to go.
And one of these Superon tankers was repurposed into the Yellow Fox tanker. Ooh, it's getting a bit wobbly. I would also have to imagine with some of the effects in this episode that, for instance, with that shot of it passing over the cliff edge and the back end kind of sways out a bit, there would have to be a point where it's like, look, we can only do this once, and whatever we get, we're just going to have to put up with. Because, you know, obviously when the crab logger eventually falls and is destroyed, you can't shoot anything more with it.
Come on, baby, come on.
Ah. Nice callback to Atlantic Inferno, the previous episode, where Scott's brother Gordon said the exact same thing. In fact, Jeff says the exact same thing as well, so you get it from 3 members of the Tracy family across 2 episodes. Oh dear, it's just one thing after another. There's just something so satisfying as a Thunderbirds fan, just watching runaway technology gone wrong. It's just beautiful stuff. This is one of those Thunderbirds episodes where it's like, yes, this sort of thing is the core of what I enjoy most in the series. And there are other stories in Thunderbirds besides technology gone wrong, but for me, this stuff is just the best. And there's a part of me that thinks, you know what, this could have been a candidate for a Thunderbirds movie. It really could. Seeing this thing on the big screen would just be incredible. So the crab logger has now stopped. She stopped, she? She stopped. Yes, on the very edge of a cliff, which is crumbling. But of course they can't just jump off. They have to drain the tanks first to make sure that it doesn't explode when it hits the bottom of the canyon. Because if it explodes at the bottom of the canyon, it will burst the dam and flood the valleys, and well, that would never do. So yeah, we've got Scott and Brains and Virgil all in mortal danger here, which is, you know, sometimes in episodes like this, it's like, okay, we've saved the people from the thing, let's leave the thing. No, we've got to do a bit more first. And on paper, I suppose it's not especially exciting, but something about all this draining the tanks.
Okay, Scott, start the pumps.
It is quite dramatic. There, good old Scott. But also, there's no music for most of this. So you get a lot of concerned looks from the puppets as Scott and Brains and Virgil, they put on their serious faces for some of this. Oh, 7,000 gallons to go. Are we going to make it? Beautiful sound effects as well. I love those endless creaking sounds and the interior of the cab here and the rock fall. Just this endless hum of the tanks pumping out the fuel here.
200 gallons to go.
Uh-oh.
Heck, she's going!
Sudden lurch to the cliff edge.
Jump, Brains. Ready, Virgil.
And here we have the return of something else from Edge of Impact. I assume these are the same jetpacks that we see the guys in the tower using at the end of that episode. The emergency escape units that just take you straight
30,
up.
20, 10. Right, that's it.
Okay, so the tanks are empty. Scott's got to get clear. Brains and Virgil have got to get off the thing. Yeah, there they go. Up into the sky. I don't think they're quite the same designs as the escape units from the previous episode, but it's probably the same technology. But this is just glorious. And oh, all those bits and pieces falling off the model. And I mean, yeah, you see the wood underneath, but oh no. Well, the guy lost his papers, but luckily that seems to be all they've lost.
Wow, quite a bang.
Brains is oddly amused by the whole thing, the fact that he nearly lost his life just
I
then.
wonder what Jim Lucas is going to say when he hears about his crab logger.
Yay! There's another of those famous Slough newspaper covers that they use a few times in this series. This, I find, a really strong way to end the episode, with Jim Lucas and his wife. Jim thought Penelope's visit was a dream, and he starts to do this, hooray for international rescue, how great they are, what an organisation. And we get the heroic music.
International Rescue has done it again.
Yeah.
But Jim, what's this about a girl in the bed?
And we just have this discussion going on in the background as the music, the heroic music, builds and swells. We witness the beginnings of what I assume is the disintegration of the marriage of these two. Because Jim's wife has to know why there was a girl in the bedroom. Oh dear. I find that a very strong ending. A great touch of more, I wouldn't say adult humour, but more sophisticated humour than you would often find in this show. Because I think the end of the previous episode, Atlantic Inferno, how do they end that one? Jeff sits down behind his desk and everyone bursts out laughing. And I've never understood why. But yeah, that's a beautiful way to end, as I said, one of my favourite episodes of Thunderbirds. I think this is possibly a favourite of a lot of people, so I'm very glad to see it come up today. Teleplay Donald Robertson. Oh, good stuff. And yes, this was, I think, the final episode directed by David Elliott. So yeah, very appropriate to see this come up so soon after his passing and really, get a chance to celebrate so much of what he brought to this series. The whole thing is beautifully directed from start to finish. It's a fantastic, classic Thunderbird story all the way along the line, but realised just beautifully every step of the way. And even, as I said, even at this late point in the series, we're integrating Penelope and Parker in such a way that they're not taking over the entire show. So this is just classic Thunderbirds all round for me. One of the best. Really good stuff.
Oh, so it wasn't Space 1999.
But it was Thunderbirds.
It was Thunderbirds. Do you think that's the next best thing after Space 1999?
Many would say it's the best thing ahead of Space 1999, but probably not Prentis. I
No,
suggest.
no, I don't know.
So, yeah, shame on you, Chris, and your randomiser for disappointing
Oh,
Prentis
no,
Hancock.
you can't say that because it's random. That's the whole point.
I know.
Yeah.
You're still blaming, though.
More from the randomiser next week. More Podsterons emailing us next week at podcast@gerryanderson.com. More FAB Facts next week.
Yes.
And second part of Prentis Hancock's interview next week.
More Prentis Hancock.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Well, you and me, probably.
Well, they'll have to tolerate that if they want the rest of it.
Yeah. Anyway, see you next week. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
This is Christmas Control. Stand by. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
we keeping these decorations up then?
I think I have to take them down for next week.
Take them down for next week?
No, before next week, yeah.
Before next week?
Is that all right?
Really?
Yeah.
I'll just come and keep them up for one more week.
Oh, fine. Is that your New Year's resolution?
Aren't they supposed to come down on the 12th of January? Isn't that a thing? Keeping your decorations up till the 12th? In which case
12th night, which is the 6th, isn't it?
Oh, well, the next podcast I think is out on the 8th of Jan.
So they have to come down by then?
No, we could squeeze in a couple of days, surely. Let's leave them up, please.
Tedious.
Oh.
Outstaying their welcome, much like...
Hello. What's all this then? I don't know why I just sounded like a policeman again. I seem to have a habit of doing that in this podcast. Anyway, see you next week. That was an Anderson Entertainment production.